Hello, teachers. So I thought for my first video, I would give you one of my favorite tech supports for EL students. And this is something I started using a lot last year. I love Google's Translate. However, Microsoft has a translator as well. And I think there are a couple small points that, at least for me, make it much more powerful and much easier to use. And the first of all is that you can see I have PowerPoint open here. It is a PowerPoint plugin as well as a standalone app. The nice thing here is that when I download and install it, and I'll put the link to that in the description, but under my slideshow option here, I am now going to get over on the side here options to start subtitles and translate slides. Start subtitles will actually put live subtitles on the screen for what I'm saying. So not only can this be useful for EL students, but if you have hearing impaired students, this might be something useful for them as well. Now, I don't actually put the subtitles up on the screen. I'll show you why. You can obviously do that. I'll show you why I don't do that. But I use this a lot of times in the background. I don't actually always use this with PowerPoint. I will start this up and then I'll go to my demos if I'm doing websites or if I'm doing other things in class or just even a regular activity. I'll have this running because it does some powerful things. So once I've got it installed, if I start subtitles, now if you have a longer presentation, it may take some processing time, so I do suggest you do this in advance, at least the processing part, because I have essentially a blank slide. It won't do that for me right now. I can choose my microphone. I've got a headset. I do recommend a wireless headset. I'll show you the one I've got. And then it'll take a second to process. It says it can take up to 5 minutes to process. So I have found it a few times to be a little bit longer. So again, I highly suggest you do this step in preparation, do it in advance. Again, you can have this running in the background. You can also pause subtitles whenever you want. And so there it is, take up the 5 minutes to complete the first time. I'm gonna go ahead and skip this for now because it's not important for what I'm doing, but especially if you're doing something like I do science or possibly even math, then you may wanna let this process out. But I'm going to skip it just so we can get to the demo portion. So what's going to happen is it'll automatically put this slide at the beginning of your presentation. Now, I just write this up on the whiteboard for my students. I have a section off to the side. The EL students know, even if we're not using Chromebooks those days, we're one-to-one Chromebook, they know they can take out their Chromebook, pop it open, and go here to use this as a resource for them. And there's some different options that I have under here. But what they're going to see when I start talking, you definitely want to make sure that you're not muted. And you can go into the options and check and make sure you're not muted. Nice thing is you can mute students if you want to, but I'll show you what that interface looks like here. So if I back out of this, you'll notice that it's still running, although it does say muted. So I'm going to unmute. I'm going to look at my options, and I'm going to unmute my audience also, although you don't have to. Sometimes it'll remute you again, just re-click that. But I'm going to go ahead and open up a browser, and I'm going to punch in this website right here. So my code, I'm going to go to translate.it/, and it's always the same, and then just the code varies. Put it in, and what's going to happen is it's going to give me an option to join this conversation with this code. So you can see I use this quite a bit. So I get to put in my language. I'll show you another language as well. And I'm going to enter it. And what's going to happen is, while this is going on, I am going to be seeing what the presenter is saying. And I've found it to be fairly accurate. Obviously, if I speed up a little bit sometimes, or if I'm using some science specific terms, it doesn't always. Also, the translation can be a little bit off, but it's definitely been useful. My students have told me that they really like this. So the cool thing is, this is where it's great. A student who even speaks English can go in and see all of this. Unfortunately, it doesn't allow you currently to download the transcript, but you could easily copy this and paste it into a transcript if you wanted to. What's pretty cool is if I open another one and go to the same thing, Now I'm going to join this as student 1, and I can pick from all these different languages. However, I do have quite a few Spanish students, so I'm going to use Spanish, and I'm going to enter this. And even though I'm the one speaking, I will go either on my computer or on my tablet sometimes, or even my phone occasionally. I will open up the app. It's available for iPhone and for Android, so you can download it. But you're going to see that they're going to see everything in their own language. What's one thing that's a little bit extra cool, and this is where even my English-speaking students have used it, which was super cool, is if I do a little split screen here, just so you can see both. So it tells me student 1 joined, but if I have a question, or if this was a student using it in English on the left side here, and I wanted to say, hello student 1, how are you? And I send this message, it's going to send it in their own language. And this is where it's been really cool, is I've had students sitting with students who do not speak the same language, and they've gotten on this and had whole discussions and gotten to know brand new students. One student told me she felt really bad because our new Thai student wasn't really talking to anybody. And so she said, hey, can I jump on that and use it in English so I can communicate with her? And they had a whole conversation, found out why she came to our school, where she lived before, how she was liking it so far. It was amazing. And so this is something that's really cool, not just for teachers, but for students as well. And while Google Translate is great, just the idea to be able to go back and forth in a conversation style format is awesome. If I have this up while I'm doing a demonstration or I'm talking, the Spanish students can ask me questions. And so I will usually keep this up, and then they'll kind of raise their hand and point to it, and then I'll know, oh, okay, I need to check it. And this is why I like to have it up in the background. Now, the cool thing is you don't have to use this with Google. You don't have to use this. The cool thing is you don't have to use this with PowerPoint if you don't want. You could easily do the same thing with your phone or a tablet and plug in a microphone to there and use it that way as well if that was something you didn't have access to. If your students aren't one-to-one technology but have their own phone, or if you happen to be able to get a loaner tablet or computer for them to use in your classroom, same thing, you could use this that way as well. So I just think this tool is super powerful. It's very simple for the most part to use. And my students, this is something they continually ask me for. I started using it in the middle of last year. When we came in this year, that was one of the first questions. Are we going to be using that again? And it was really helpful to them, and they've told me that numerous times. So I thought I would show you that as well. Now, one thing I did go and invest in is a wireless microphone. So my wireless microphone has a receiver right here. This is a wireless 2.4 gigahertz one, and it just clips to my shirt. It's got a little clip on it, and then on the other side it came with the receiver, which I plug into my computer. You could also plug into your smartphone or tablet if you were going to be using one of those. And then it works great for the most part. I've got pretty good range. I can go all over the classroom, so I don't have to carry my phone or my laptop or whatever with me if I don't want to. And then the nice thing is, if I want to mute myself for a minute, talk to another student, I can do that as well. But it's going to pick up everything that I say throughout the class period. So if you use it and you like it, or you have any problems with it, let me know. I'd love to hear what you guys think of all of it. And as always, if there's other things you want to see specifically, please let me know in the comments so I can go ahead and make support videos and additional videos or test out other things for you. Talk to you soon.